Good morning. My name is Jesse Larson. I am the quite new pastor of Bethany Presbyterian Church. This is my third official Sunday, and we find ourselves in very unique circumstances. As everyone knows, and it's been happening for a couple months now, that we're in the midst of this coronavirus outbreak, a pandemic. And just I guess it was on Thursday, when all of a sudden the writing was on the wall that most churches, like most organizations, most gatherings, felt it best to suspend worship and all gatherings for the next couple weeks. The session and I will confer. We'll see what information's available, but we hope by Saturday, the 28th of March, to determine what our next steps will be. But in the meantime, we're going to be doing worship a little bit differently. It's certainly less than ideal, but we know that God is still very much present and in the midst of this crisis. A few words just about how we did make the determination. I've heard some people talking about, we're people of faith, we shouldn't give in to fear. And I like that sentiment that we are people of faith and we never want fear to rule. But I don't view this issue as being about fear. Truthfully, many people, myself included, if we were to get this virus, statistically, we should be fine. It's like another flu bug. But we know that people who have health problems and people who are older, it's a more intense flu, and there can be very big consequences. So I don't view this as much of an issue about fear, but it's about protecting the most vulnerable among us and caring for them. And I was just thinking, even in a very kind of personal example, I learned that one of our members was in the ER on Friday, and I thought, I'll just shoot over and see her. But I then began to think, you know what? This is the problem, that there are people coming and going in contact with all sorts of people. I probably would be fine if I got sick, but then I bring this and I spread it to my congregation. And we know from the horribly sad things that have happened in Italy, that their medical system has been overwhelmed. And so as they're talking about this bell curve, rather than a bunch of cases all at once, we want to flatten it out over time so that the medical community has time to deal with people, enough beds, enough medicine. So that's why we've done this. I think that something to keep in mind about worship is that we do miss each other, and we know how now, more than ever, in the midst of these kind of scary times, we want to be together. But again, we just say we're going to do things a little differently so that we give people time to get ahead of this crisis. And I think that most of us, as I've talked with many pastors, would say we want to err on the side of caution and not take risks. So if it doesn't end up being that bad, that was the whole point of why we've done this. I'm going to say that this is just the introduction. I'm going to do a part 2 and a part 3 of our video as we enter into worship together in this time.